In this problem, we are to use an addition or subtraction formula to write this expression as a trig function of one number. At the end of the problem, they're telling me that my answer should be of the form cosine of pi over a number, which can be simplified further without cosine as some number over 2. My job is to identify the c and the d. But for now, this makes no sense to look at. Let's just work on the problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for an identity that looks like cosine cosine plus sine sine. I did that. Here's my problem. I wrote down the identity that involves cosine cosine sine sine. Then I had to identify whether I should use the minus or the plus case, because the identity is written in a way that there really is two identities here, meaning if this is minus, then you should use the plus case over here. But in my problem, since I have addition right here, then since the addition is the bottom symbol, that means use the subtraction over here. So now all I have to do is plug the a and the b into my trig formula. So lining things up, it's clear to me that a lines up with 3 pi over 7 and b lines up with 2 pi over 21, and again over here as well. My a is 3 pi over 7 and my b is 2 pi over 21. So writing that down, now that I've identified a and b, the trig identity basically tells you exactly what to do. It says take the cosine of 3 pi over 7 and subtract 2 pi over 21. So just putting those values in, I substituted a with 3 pi over 7 and substituted b with 2 pi over 21. Identity basically tells me exactly what the answer is. It's just my job now to simplify. So again, taking the identity, since this was the plus case, I wrote down the minus case here. Substituting my a and my b, I noticed that I could subtract these by finding common denominator. Since this denominator is 21 and this one's 7, I would have a denominator of 21 as my common denominator. So what I did is I multiplied the 7 by 3 to get 21. If you multiply the bottom by 3, you have to multiply the top by 3. So multiply my numerator by 3, I get 3 times 3 pi is 9 pi. Now that my fractions have a common denominator, I can subtract them. 9 pi minus 2 pi is 7 pi, and there's my common denominator of 21. Now that I have my answer in this form, I look at what Math AS wanted. Math AS wanted me to write my answer as cosine of pi over a number. So since it's not going to allow me to have anything besides pi in my numerator, I figured I had to simplify my fraction. 7 over 21 is the same as 1/3. So 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 21 3 times. I get that my trig identity simplifies down to be cosine pi over 3. Now, this may actually confuse things, but what Math AS want to do is make your life simple and not have you type in cosine pi over 3. It's just going to have you type in 3. It's just easier to type in. It does this by saying, by the way, your answer is going to be the form cosine of pi over c. What's c? So by inspection, the number we have in the denominator is 3. Math AS is calling that c, so that means our c is simply 3. If you look back at the Math AS question, they also put a d in there. So now that I've done the problem, it's clear to me what this means over here. So my c I've found, it's 3. Now they're saying that now that you know the answer is cosine pi over 3, get rid of the cosine, actually evaluate the cosine of pi over 3, you're going to get an answer that looks like this, and please tell me what d is. So doing so, I did that, and let's move this up. So now that I know c is 3, looking down here, cosine of pi over 3, if you were to draw the reference triangle, pi over 3 is 60 degrees, right? Pi is 180, 180 over 3 is 60. Cosine of 60 degrees, if you draw that reference triangle, label the sides appropriately, you'll see that the cosine of 60, since it's adjacent or hypotenuse, is 1/2. So they said that I should be able to write my answer as some number over 2. Well, I just did. So they're saying my answer should be d over 2. Please tell me what d is, and we just figured out that the answer is 1/2. So again, by inspection, d is 1. So my answer in Math AS would be that c is 3 and that d is 1.